not ceremonial move. Alright, we have action.
Yeah, we have handshakes here. We have the clock started in Magnus against Vakhidov, and just the first moves are being played. I see a bishop come out from Magnus, so I'm guessing this is in English, just by the hand motion. I know we can't see exactly the moves on this camera angle, but it's great to see the players agreeing. Yes, indeed it was. An early b4 from Vakhidov. Peter, you liking what you're seeing from the opening?
Yes, I'm liking. I always like bishops, and the white bishop is reaching the long diagonal with bishop b2. Queen e7 played. Yes, queen e7 played by Magnus. Knight f3 will follow. Yeah, putting some pressure on the e5 pawn. Very important. Knight c6.
But do you also love pawns? Because I feel like those double pawns on c5 and c4, those are really ugly. And I wouldn't be too fond of them. d4 was just played by Vakhidov. Magnus quickly snaps that up, and we're seeing a trade of knights on d4. And that means those pawns are going to be really bad for the rest of the game. I see the bishop and the queen lined up on the battery. So Peter, how do you evaluate this? How would you assess it? Who's better? Who would you prefer to play with?
Well, I'm not an expert in these lines, so I'm relying on the players, and if Magnus is blitzing his moves out, probably he believes that black should be fine. But I'm also liking what I'm seeing from Vakhidov, that he is kind of keeping up with the pace. He believes in his position. He actually played the move queen e5, a very interesting move. Magnus takes, there is pressure on the c7 pawn.
And king to d8, so we are seeing the moves on the board even before the camera. It seems like things are going back and forth with who's winning the race between camera feeds and EGNs. But either way, the black king did just slide over. We saw Magnus place his king on d8 there, protecting the vulnerable c7 pawn. Bishop takes f6 check, g takes f6. We're going to see bad pawns across the board here, but I like the tension that black has in c5, because if white takes on b6, a great decision, I would say, by Vakhidov not to take there. After a takes b6, the rook activates on its starting square. We often think we need to move our rook to activate it. No, sometimes it can activate in its corner.
Yes, I need to figure a way out to slow down the action, yeah, because sometimes, yeah, the moves are coming in way too fast.
Yeah, it seems like on the camera feed, the move c5 was just played, but you see, Levon Aronin, he was pulling up his sleeves, and usually he pulls a rabbit out of a hat. He is a really great player. We'll catch up with Levon in a bit, but for now, we have the game between Magnus and Vakhidov, the white king on d2. This is a pure endgame now, 2 rooks per side, same color bishops. White does have the better pawn structure now, Peter, so open files for black, better pawns for white. I think that the chances are good for a big fight at this stage.
Yeah, it looks like things are under control. Bishop e6, for example, can simply be met by king c3. I don't know if I can already reveal those moves. I'm looking at the camera. Bishop e6. I'm expecting king c3.
Okay, so king c3 makes... I see the king is on c3 right now. Yes, and there's a white bishop on d3. And what move did black play now? Bishop d3. Oh!
Look, hb8! No, cannot be. It's impossible that Magnus blunders bishop e4. This is some transmission error.
No, it's not. I see the board.
Wow.
That rook did go to b6. In fact, Vakhidov went rook to b1, rook a to b1. He missed bishop e4. You don't expect Magnus to blunder in this way. And then Magnus goes rook b6. Vakhidov takes on h7, but he could have won that rook in the corner. And then he would have had an extra exchange with all the winning chances in the world. Instead, he takes on h7. Peter, can that bishop get trapped?
Yeah, well, now we are seeing that he's trying to open it, but I'm not liking it. And the reason why Magnus captured on b1. I wanted to highlight that the reason Magnus played this rook hb8 was to get that rook on b6. He got it, but then he trades. Wow.
He trades on b1, rook to h8 just played it on the camera feed, and after bishop takes f5, which is probably the only move. Isn't white up a pawn here? And I see the counterplay. We just saw the rook take on h2, the white rook go to g1. Black has counterplay in terms of activity, but white surely is better. You're just up a pawn.
Yes, on the other hand, probably Magnus believes that with activity with d6, d5 coming, and after c takes d5, king d5, the king is also, black's king is close to the king side pawns. Black's rook is very active. King d3, okay. White is trying, yeah, Magnus immediately goes active.
And there is a black king in the center, so it looks like the camera catching up to 5 was just played on camera feed, king takes d5. And we see this centralization of the black king, and I'm looking at the clock. Great zoom in here. Magnus up almost a minute on time. The position isn't that difficult for white to play, but I think it makes it difficult for white to win when you don't have time to calculate.
Yeah, especially this king c3, this is not a good move. This is a move to make sure that you are not gonna end up in any kind of trouble, but with pawn up, I believe that he should have played king e3 and start pushing his kingside pawns with g4. Now after king c3, Magnus will have enough. I think he should have enough compensation.
And Magnus, he just dips below 1 minute 30 seconds for the first time. We see him fiddling with a piece over there, as players often do, and he just pushes c-pawn. I can see that hand gesture, and that's a passed pawn of its own. So the white king has a lot to deal with, and that black king, it either can go to stay where it is, protecting the pawn, or come on over to the king side to win the f-pawn at some moment. So we was locked in on the live board, the physical board. Vakhidov, hand in the air, he's got to find a plan.
Yeah, it's not easy to activate the rook. Yeah, black's rook on h2 is very annoying, hitting both pawns. Yeah, finally Vakhidov decides to activate the rook. Ah, okay, sorry. The move has been already appeared on the screen, but not on our camera.
Peter, you're the last person who owes an apology. When things are changing every single round, it's very difficult to keep up. So please don't apologize. But we do appreciate everyone's patience with us as we try to keep up and keep everyone fresh with what's going on. So rook on the 7th rank, rook d7, white down to 5 seconds. The pawns are being traded at this stage. So for Vakhidov, I think I would just take a draw. Just start taking the pawns, liquidate, and simplify, because I don't want to blunder with 5 seconds.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a professional relation. Magnus also kind of signals that, yes, I know it's good. What? Okay,
Oh,
he
with
plays
1
with 2
second?
seconds.
Oh,
Okay, but it's a draw.
It is still a draw, but he barely got those moves off. And what he's forcing Magnus to do is calculate. There's a black rook that can take a pawn, but that means the rook and the king are on the same rank, and white will be able to force the rooks off with a check along the 5th rank. Now, it still should be a draw because white has a pawn, but it's something you need to calculate. You can't just assume it's a draw. You need to calculate move by move. And as we bring the board up, we can just draw an arrow. Rook takes f5, rook a5 check. The king has to protect the rook, but once those pieces get traded off, the e8 square is where the black king will get back to in time, and that means the king is in the box and the a pawn doesn't help.
Yeah, and okay, Magnus finally goes for it. Says thank you very much. I was suffering in this game. Draw is a good result.
The draw is a good result for Magnus Carlsen. Can't win them all. It was a well-played game from Vakhidov. Meanwhile, I saw Artemiev went with black against Brunello. Why don't we hop into maybe the Levon-Aronian game, just because it is a matchup between players from the same country.